Greetings. Welcome to Talk About Pop Music. This week I will be discussing Goo Goo Dolls, Hold Me Up. The Goo Goo Dolls are most famous for their hits Name, Iris, and Slide. However, 5 years before that, they released their third album, Hold Me Up. This is their finest moment as a band of musicians. Their work may have become more accessible to the general public at large, but as far as why people like them in the first place, this is the album that people generally gravitate towards. Hold Me Up came out in October of 1990. I was a freshman in high school. A friend of mine, or actually I should say a local neighbor, told me about the band, and we went to go see them, and it was a near religious experience. And I hadn't even heard this album yet, although I did hear the one song, There You Are, which was the debut single. And the video got played on MTV's 120 Minutes, and I thought I found the new Replacements because I was a huge fan, and still am a huge fan of the Replacements. However, they'd been progressively changing their sound with each progressive album, and the Goo Goo Dolls basically sounded like the Replacements had done in 1985, 1986, 1987. With elements of the Ramones and Cheap Trick thrown in. And Hold Me Up is easily their finest moment as a band. It's their best album. It has two singles, There You Are and Just the Way You Are. There's a wonderful cover of Never Take the Place of Your Man, or I Could Never Take the Place of Your Man by Prince, with lead vocals by the incredible Lance Diamond, who was a Buffalo lounge singer. And there's a cover of the Plimsolls' Million Miles Away, a great instrumental song called Kevin's Song, a great song called Hey, which they used to open up a lot of their shows with. The songs 2 Days in February and You Know What I Mean later appeared on the soundtrack to Freddy's Dead, The Final Nightmare. This album got a fair amount of airplay on college radio and alternative radio in 1990, 1991. It was just before the alternative boom of Nirvana, and I've always been a big fan of the artwork, which was done by the drummer George Tuska. This album only came out in vinyl in France on Metal Blade Records / Fun After All / Music for Nations, which distributed it. Their first two albums, Goo Goo Dolls and Jed, were punky and fun, but just okay. The songwriting on Hold Me Up is significantly better. The bass player, Robbie Tatak, was the leader of the band and sang lead on the first album and the second album for most of the songs. I believe Johnny Resnick sang on two songs from Jed, Up Yours and James Dean, and the vocal duties are shared amongst Robbie and Johnny on Hold Me Up. And strictly speaking, as a band and musicians, they're easily at the top of their game on this album. They never sounded better, and this is definitely a case of a band when they finally showed their true colors. Over the years, it turned out I really didn't like them as much as I thought I did, and it really didn't have too much to do with them being popular, because if they continued releasing albums like this instead of A Boy Named Goo and Dizzy Up the Girl, I would have never stopped liking them. However, it's definitely a case of I like the content a little less than I like the form, because the content was fairly the same. It was just the way they put it across that was different. So, in terms of the content and the form, I love Hold Me Up, and I like Jed, and I love this following album, Superstar Car Wash, which came out in 1993. But this is easily their finest moment. For Talk About Pop Music, I'm Bill Wikstrom, and this was the Vinyl View segment.